Alright, so hey guys, and welcome to another YouTube video in our Java tutorial series. And in this video, we are actually going to be looking into arrays, like how we can create an array, how we can read from an array, how we can update an item which is in an array, and how we can actually delete an item from an array. So without wasting much of the time, let's actually get started. So let's clear out the items that we had from previous video. Let's clear out this. So all right, so far we have known how to just create a variable, right? Say int, and then we say and then we have just like this, right? But let's say I want to store like 5 numbers, to say 1 2 3 4 and 5, and I need them in a single variable. How can we do it? That's when arrays come into place, right? So to create an array, let me just demonstrate something. Like, then we say numbers, then it's new int, then let me put 5 here. So what we have done here is what happened? That means we cannot convert from int to okay, like this. So what we have done here is we've created a variable called numbers, but this variable is an array because we've put these braces here, and then this variable has a capacity of storing 5 items. So whenever you create an array in Java, you have to specify the number of items you have to that you want to store in that array, right? So here we need 5. If we needed a million items, you could put like this is 1,000. This is what? This is 1,000, 10,000, right? What? Something like this, right? And then you can actually store those numbers, right? To say I need a million items. This then that is it. If you need 1 item, you can just put 1 like this. So anyways, let's get to what we get it first. Get 5 items. So here let me do this. So int uh, 0 is equals to 1, right? So not int exactly, but numbers, right? So what have I done here? So we said we need 5 items in our array, that is called numbers, right? But it's something like in arrays. So we count from 1, like as humans, to say we have 5 items, right? Say 1 2 3 4 and 5, like what we have declared. But in computers, like we start counting from 0. So that means the first item in that array is at an index. So that is if you want to get an item from an array, you use an index. So it has an index to say from 0 up to whatever that you had. So let's do let me actually print out to the screen, and you can actually see what I'm talking about. So system out dot print ln, then we say numbers at position 0, and let me show you what I am, right? So when this actually runs, you see at position 0 we have 1 here. So what am I saying? Let's say we had something like this. We had 1 2 3 4 5. So these are actually 5 items, right? Yeah. But in computers, if you want to get 1, it is an index code 0. This is at 1. This is 2 3 4. So that means the upper bound index is the length of that array minus 1. So you check the upper with the numbers which are in that array, like the number of items, right? Here there are 5, but then you subtract 1, that is the upper bound. Let's say I wanted to insert it in index number 5, right? Let's see what will happen if I run this. Look, we had an exception, array index out of bounds exception, because index 5 out of bounds for length 5. But if we put to say 4, because we say the length of that array subtract 1, everything will actually be fine. If we run this, look at it, right? So we didn't get any error and everything is perfect, right? Now there's another way also to create these arrays, not by doing this, but by actually getting these braces. They are not these, I don't know what name I can give it, probably squigglies or whatever, but these are actually curly. No, these are actually curly braces. Yeah. So let's say we put 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 like this. So let's run this and see what actually happens. Guess what will happen? Well, nothing will actually happen because we have just initialized an array, right? But let's say I want to get something from that array, right? So let's do system.out.println, and then we need from numbers, we need an item, it's index 3. So look, what are we going to get here? Which number is the index 3? Guess it. Okay, it's 4 because here is the 0, 1, 2, and then this is the index 3, right? So arrays in Java, they are actually let's say a bit tricky because they are static. You can as long as you have specified, like to say I need 5 items to be stored in this array, then you cannot grow that array to store 6 items or to store 7, 8, or 9 items. So here we are actually going to create an array class which will contain methods, like to say we can create an array class which is dynamic, and then we will give it methods to say, okay, if I want to add an item, then I will add. If that array is actually full, then we grow that array and then we put another item from that. If we want to remove, then we remove an item from that class, like that one. So here, what are we going to do? Let me create another file here. Say this array.java like this. All right. Thanks to VS Code for that. But anyways, let's go on to like this. Let me remove this. So what do we need? So from this array class, firstly, we need a constructor, right? So let's do let's just then we need to say array like this one, and then what do we need here? So let's create a name here. So let's have private, and then we have names is an array, right? So what are we going to do actually here? So I have we need a string, not like this, but yeah, I knew something was wrong that way. Anyways, so what do we actually need to do? So when you call this class array, right, we need to specify the number of items that we need to store in that array, right? So our constructor will accept the number of elements that we need to store. So it accept the length. So now let's do this. So names is equals to a new string array of length like this. So here, when you call this array, right, it's actually going to create a string array, and then here, when you call this constructor, we create a string array depending on the length. So if you pass 1, then our array will actually going to have an upper bound of 1 to say you can store 1, that is the size of the array, right? So after this, what do we need to do? We need to insert items in this array. Let me create another method, like to say public void insert, right? So what do we need here to insert? Obviously, we need the item, right? So this array that we have created is a string array, so we just going to string, we're going to take an item, and then what are we going to do? Right? We're going to say names, and then some index. For now, let's just say 0, and then going to be item like this. So what do we need if we had in items to say from 0, right? So okay, let me explain it like this. When we insert into an array, right, let's say we have an array like this. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me comment out this, right? And we need to insert an item here. Where are we actually going to insert it? At the start of the array, at the middle of the array, anywhere inside like say the array, or we need to insert it at the end of the array. Take a moment, pause this video and actually think. All right, so we need to insert it at the end of the array. To say here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we put 5 at the end of the array. If we insert something, we have 6, we have 7. So what do we need to? We need to keep track of the number of items that we have in our array. So let's create a variable here and say it count, and then we initialize it to 0. That means we take this count, we actually put it here. That means at first, when we are actually insert, right, we actually insert at position 0. And then the next time that we need to insert at position 1. But what can we do? After inserting, we need to increment our variable count. Then it means if we insert, firstly is 0. When we insert, it goes on to 1. That means our array now contains 1 element. If we insert again, we insert and then our array now contains 2 elements, right? So anyways, just like that, let's go on to say, let's go here, and then we need something like what? We need an array, right? And then let's call it names, and then this is a new array, and then we need to pass the length. So let's just give it what? 5. That's the length. So everything is fine. So let's go on to say names dot insert, and then what do we need to insert this item? It's actually a string, and let me actually insert the name Takudzwa here. So what do we need to do? I'm actually going to create a method like in our array class, the method for printing, like to say when we come here we just do names dot print and then just get the items that. But let me explain something here. When we're actually printing arrays, right, then we actually, like in this array class, we should not have a method to say print, like in the real world when everything is actually perfect. We don't need that method to print, because printing doesn't have need to do with arrays. But here I want to demonstrate like what items do we have now in our array. So let's do this. Public void print, and then what do we need to do? We need to loop through our array. So what I'm going to do here is can be complicated, but anyways, not to say complicated, but we haven't done this. We are going to do this in our next video, but just see it and try to understand what's happening here. But then I will explain in the next video what I'm actually going down deep with this for loop that I'm going to be using. So let's go on to say for, and then do int is equals to, let's start from 0, and then we have not int to say, but I need I here, and then we need I less than what? Less than names dot length, and then we do I plus plus, right? So what do we need next here? What happened? Which is okay, it's int I like this. So what happens? We need to print something to the screen. So let's do system.out.print ln, and then we need to print names at position I, right? But then here we can actually not use this, but we can actually use count, so that okay. Let me first use names at length, and then after that I will actually show you why I needed to use count there, right? So let's do here, after inserting we do names dot print, right? Let's run this and see what we are going to get, right? We get Takudzwa, and then we get no, 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 and no again. Let's go on to, firstly, we said we need 5 items in our array, right? So what Java did is it's actually allocated memory for 5 items, right? So but memory that was allocated, say it contains it needs to store 5 items, right? It was set to no, because we didn't put anything in that. Let's actually remove, let's comment out the statement and then print again and see what I'm literally talking about. All right, so you can see we have 5 new values here to say there's literally nothing, right? That is the envelope that was allocated by Java. But then when we inserted this, then it means the first item wasn't null. So let's change this to count, and I will let you know what will happen there. Okay, let me just do. And then after this, you see we only have Takuzwa because that is the only item that we had inserted. So our item only contains 1, but the memory allocation was 5. I hope you do understand what I'm trying to say there. Anyways, let's go on to here. So when we are inserting, right, we said, okay, let me go into this. So let me do this. Let me put what? Let me put Joe. Let me put racing. Let me put what? Fazga. Let me put another item. Let me say Mufaro. And then, right. Let me actually run this and you see what we are. Right. These are actually 5 items, right? Because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because we had said that we need 5 items. But if I want to add an item, say the 6th item, what will happen here? All right. Let me literally edit. So let me say Clint like this. So what will happen? If I guess what will happen here? All right. We have an array index of bounds exception because we had declared that we need 5 items, but we added a 6th item. So what do we actually need to do to actually grow our array? To say our array initially at 5, but we are adding a 6th item, right? So we need to add that 6th item at the end of the array. So to do that, we need to actually check for a condition to say, is our array full? If our array is full, then we need to resize that array so that it can contain are elements that are bigger than what we firstly initialized. So let's do that. So let's have a condition here. So let's say what count is equals to names dot length. Then we need to so to actually resize our array, we need to actually create a new array that contains what we had firstly in that array, and then we pass that array. So we need an array firstly which contains items that we have. So the size of that array should be bigger than what we had at first. So to say if here we had 5 items, right, then we need to create an array which is bigger than 5, perhaps 6 going upwards, and then we copy what we had at first to that array, and then we insert what we want to insert into that array. So let's do this. String new names is equals to new string, and then what should I pass here? Right, say the number of items. Let's do count plus 1. Right, so what literally happened here? String new names. Okay, we need these braces here. Right, so we have actually declared another array which is 1 size bigger than what we had previously. So now we had 5 items at first, right? So when we had 5 items at first, we are going to end up here. But when we added the 6th element, then we check if our array is full, right? It's actually full. We create this array, right? And then we need to look from the array that we have to, that means taking everything from the array that we had previously and actually giving those elements to our new array and then add an element to that. So let's do this for each for like this. So let me do int I is equal to 0. Then we have I less than count. Then we have I plus plus. Then we do this. That means the new names at position I, it will contain what? It will contain the names that we had at position I, right? So by actually doing this, that means we've actually looped through the whole array, right? And then we give our new names what we had from the previous. So now after doing this, we need to go on to say names is now equal to new names, right? And then we can actually continue, right? So let's go on to here and then actually print and see what will actually happen. You see, we didn't get any error, and if I duplicate these items like this and then actually get to print them here, what will happen, right? We are not actually getting errors because we have resized the array, because our array was full, but then we resized it with our one item, which with the size which is one bigger than what we had, and then everything goes on fine, right? So let me come back to this, and then let me remove actually this comment, and then all right, so let me actually have a wrap up of this insert element. So all right, so firstly it's checking if our array is full, right? And then if our array is full, then it means we need to resize the array. So we create a new array which is one size bigger than that, and then we go on to here, we take what we had from the array that we want to resize, give those values to the new array that we created, and then we say the array that we had in this class, which is names, is actually now equal to the new array. Then this means our new array, so here we actually had 5 items, right? And then here the array that is now, when we hit this line, that means our array now contains space to contain 6 items, 6 elements, and then we go on to say names dot just count. Names are count is now equal to that item that we needed to set. Just like that. So what's next? Here on count plus plus, we are just incrementing this count to say if we had one item, then increment 2. If we had 2 items, then we increment to 3. So we have created an array class. We have actually inserted an item into a class. Now let's go on to removing an item from the class, right? So let's create another method. So this, which is public void what remove, and then let's just use an index to remove. So remove it, so we are going to take int what index, right? So what do we need? So if we had let's say we had items 1 2 3 4 and 5, and we need to remove an item at position 3. Okay, so let me do this. Let me actually comment this. So at index 0 we had 1, let's do this, and then at index 1 we had 2, index 3, not index 3 but index 2 we had 3, and then at index 3 we had 4, and then at index 4 we had 5, like this, right? So if I want to remove 3 is at index 2, right? So let's say I have removed this. Now we do not from what we have here, there's now no consistency, because we are coming from index 0, index 1, and then straight up to index 3. What is it? So we need to actually shift those items, like the index is one step back. To say this is now at 2, and then this is now at 3, like that. So how do we do it? All right. So to actually do this, we need to look through our array, right, and shift everything one step back from the index that we want to remove from. So let's literally go on to look through everything here. Let's put on count, and then others like this, and then we do names is equals to names, and then we say I plus 1 like this, and we start from the index that we need to remove from, right? Because if we had 1 2 3 4 5, then if we want to remove it, this index which is 2 0 0 the index and the first index, then it means they are at correct positions, but then from here from 4 to 5 they are at wrong indexes, so we need to literally get them back. So from, that means this index, right, which is at 2, now needs to take an item which is at I plus 1, right? So here what we actually need to do, let's go on to here. So all right, let's go on to here. So we need to remove an item which is we have 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 5 and 6, but the upper bound index is 5, right? So if you want to remove an item which is index 6, we need to restrict that. So what do we literally need to do? Let's go on to say if, right, index, firstly let's check if the index is literally greater than or equal to what, to, we say count or the names dot length. Anyways, let's literally do count, right? Then we need to throw an throw new an illegal argument exception like this, and then let's just go on to here and say what do we need. Let's put names to, let's just put count. Everything is literally like that, and then let's run this and actually see what's going to happen. So literally here, so let's run this. See, we have an illegal argument exception, right? Because we are trying to remove, but we also have another, if say the index is literally negative, we do not have an index which can be negative, right? So let's check those two conditions like this. So here, if these conditions is actually true, then we just crash the program. Say the program needs to stop here, we are not going anywhere. But let's say we want to remove the item at number 5. Let's see. Let's run this. You see, plenty has been removed, but we have no like this. What is it? So when we remove, we literally need to decrement our count like this, right? So if you run this again, you will see up to here, right? That is it. So we have actually removed the arrays. Let me remove this comment, and then everything is as good as that. So we've actually created an array. We've actually inserted an item into an array. We've actually removed an item in an array. So what do we need to do? We need to search for an item to say, does an item literally exist in an array, right? So let's go on to this. So let's do a public void and then say this search. I can say, let me just say set. Then takes what? Takes an item that we need to search from this. And then, so here, what do we literally need to do? We need to loop through everything, right? Say, we literally need to loop through everything, and here we need count, not names, dot length, and then we say what we are searching for, right? So we have a condition like this. So if the item with names is equal to the item that we are searching for, then we need to return to say we have actually got what we are looking for. Or so what we are looking for, here we are going to return an index, right? Say return, and then we return the index. Index is I. But look here, we have an error. Why do we have an error? void methods cannot return a value. So let's remove void here and say we need to return an integer, right? So we have another error that is coming on, right? So this method must return a result of type int, right? So let's say we are going to literally return something from here, like this condition is not going to be true, then nothing will be returned, right? So after looping through the wall of this loop, and then we literally have this condition to be false, like it hasn't met that condition to say that condition is true. We need to return something here. Let's return -1, right? See that the error is gone. So at any given point, our array is our method is literally going to return something. Either it's going to return an index, say we have found the element that we are looking for, or it will literally return an index of -1. Not an index of -1, but literally a value which is say -1. That means we have literally not found what we were looking for. So let's go on to say search here. So what we are searching for, let's search for what? So let's search for something like what name can I use from here? Let's search an item to say Dennis. This. So let's run this. Literally nothing is not going to happen here, but we need to literally print, right? The system dot out dot print ln, and then we give it something like this. So if we literally run this, let's see what is going to happen. You see, we have -1. Let me remove this print, but anyways, to find, see, we have -1. That means the name Dennis is not in our array, right? So but let's search for something like what? Let's search for Pharaoh from that list and see what we are going to get. So if we literally run this, let's see, we get 4. So it says 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. That means the name Pharaoh exists as the index 4. So we have literally, let's look at what we have done so far. So what we have done so far is we've created an array class, right? Then we have inserted an item into the class. We have removed an item into the class from the class, and then we have actually searched an item into an item. So literally search it, see if it exists in an array, right? So now let's get to see it. We need to update an item which is in an array, right? So let's go on to say public what void, and then say, let's just say update, right? So if we're literally going to update here, what do we need? Firstly, we need let's just do string, and then the item that, and then we are going to go on and say names at position what. Let's say first go on to saying 0, right? And then we put item. But we need an index, right, of what we are going to update, right? So let's go on to say firstly we need the index, right, like this, and then we put the index here, right, so like this. But what if we pass an index of something which is not in this array, right? What is literally going to happen? Let's go on to what was it, our removed it, right? It was this. So let's go on to check this condition and put it here, right? So let's go on to say names dot what dot update, so it's index 0. We need something like here, and then let's put even like this. So let's run this. Right, we need to forgot to print out to the screen what will happen there. So let's rerun this and see what is going to happen. So you see, at position 0, index, we set a new item given. That means this value of Chaguzwa has now been replaced. So let's go on to say we need an item with position 8, update it. What is it that is going to happen? Check. Yes, you have an illegal argument exception because we do not have an array which has an index of 8, right? So with that being said, I'm literally going to wrap up the video here. Don't forget to share the video, to like the video, hit the subscribe button if you haven't done that, and I'll see you in another YouTube video.